Now, hello everyone. My name is Fiona and I am going to be presenting webinar 5 of the Come Farm With Me series. So today we'll be joined by Gearoid Maher, who is a dairy farmer in County Limerick in Maher. If you want, I'm going to, as tradition, do some shout outs to your class. So you can send in your shout outs, our school name or your class name, and I will give you a wee shout out there. Don't think we've any in there yet. Oh, we have a hello from Scoil an Bhaile Nua, Kilmac Thomas, first and second. We have Fermoy Adair, the junior room. We have Cahira National School in County Clare. Hello from Roscomroe NS in County Offaly, juniors to 6th class. We have 6th class Cam NS. Hello, everybody. We have a hello from 3rd and 4th class in Tinnatarif NS. Hello to Mr. Fahy's class, 1st to 6th in Fuse NS in Waterford. Hello to 3rd and 4th Scoil Naomh Pádraig, Moyloch in County Galway. We have a shout out to middle room and black line, Scoil Naomh Pádraig, is that right? Shout out to St. Peter's and Paul's Balbriggan, 1st class. Hello, everybody. We're excited for today's webinar, I can see. Hello from the junior room in Barnane NS in County Tipperary. Happy to have you all here. Hello from Miss Murphy's 3rd and 4th in Herbertstown, County Limerick. And we'll do a few more now. I think we have most schools joined with us. Hello from the junior infants from Scoil Moira Junior in Dublin. Hello to 3rd class Belclare NS in Galway. And hello from the 2nd, 3rd and 4th Scoil Naomh Mhuire Malin Head, County Donegal. Wow. And the last one, we will say hello to Big Stone NS in Kildare. I hope you're all excited for today's webinar. I'm going to share Gearoid's day in the life, where we joined Gearoid 3 weeks ago in Cappamore in County Limerick, and we saw all of the activities that Gearoid does in a day. And so here we go.
Welcome to Gearoid Maher's Come Farm With Me. My name is Gearoid Maher. I'm a dairy farmer here in East Limerick in Cappamore, and you're very welcome to my farm. Today we're going to show you around what we're doing on a day-to-day basis on the farm. We're in the middle of calving at the moment. We're a spring calving herd, so we calve all our cows from the end of January to the end of March. So today we're just going to be doing some, cows are out for a while, so for a few hours. So today we'll be looking at feeding them silage, giving them some beet, feeding calves, milking, and cubicle hygiene, and a bit on animal, maybe some cows might calve as well today. This farm is a spring calving herd, and we're a grass-based herd, so we try to get as much grass into the cows as possible, but when they're not eating grass, we give them grass silage, which is grass fermented, that's made during the summer months, that we feed over the winter months when the grass isn't growing. It's made in the form of bales, so it's just basically, it's cut, dried, and baled with a baler and wrapped, and we stack it here in the yard. The cows love it, and it gives them an extra boost in energy after calving. And we also feed the milking cows after calving. They get sugar beet. We have a chopper there, a simple chopper. It's on the back of the tractor. The reason we cut it is because the cows can't physically eat the whole sugar beet itself, so we chop it up, we slice it up for them into bite-sized pieces, so it's basically for them to be able to eat it. So So we're in the calving shed here. This is our calving pen here behind me, and this is where the cows come in to calve. So we have a single bucket unit here and a calving gate, so any cow that needs assistance calving, we will help them, but generally most cows calve on their own. And we also, as soon as the calf is born, we milk the cow there on the single bucket unit to ensure that the calf gets fresh colostrum, because colostrum is the first milk. It's full of antibodies, and the sooner you can get that off the cow, the better the quality. And the better the quality, colostrum is hugely important for the calf's well-being. So we're a spring calving herd here. We start calving about the 20th of January, and we finish calving maybe the end of March, first week of April. I suppose we calve at that time of year because we're heading into the grass growing season, and we try and get as much grass into the cows as possible. So we're outside the calf shed here. So this is where we bring the calves after calving. The calves are fed fresh colostrum from the cows in individual pins, and they're trained to a feeder. So as soon as they're able to go on the feeder, then we group them in batches of 10. So generally that takes about 2 to 3 days. So they're in groups of 10 then until weaning. Each calf has to be tagged, and that's due to legislation from the Department of Agriculture. So we have to keep a register of each animal. So that's why they have 2-ear tags. One is the white one is an electronic one, and the other one is just our standard tag. So I'm standing now in the milking parlour. This is where we milk the cows. We milk them twice a day. We start milking at 6 in the morning, and we milk at 4 o'clock in the evening. So the cows come in here behind me. You can see the trucks there. They get a feed. We can change the level of feed at different times of the year, depending on the level of grass that's on the farm. We generally try to feed as little as possible to increase the amount of grass into the cow's diet. Basically, when the cows come into the parlour and they get their feed, we rub the back of the cow's udder, and that releases a hormone called oxytocin, which helps let down the milk. And we attach this milking cluster to each of the 4 teats, and it basically massages the milk out of the cow, and it's pumped into this line and straight into the bulk tank, which is cooled straight away. The milk is collected twice a day by a big bulk tank. It's taken to for processing then, and all our milk here is basically goes for the production of cheese, and some of it goes for whey production and different types of cheese products as well. So the milk here it goes from the milking machine here straight to the bulk tank, and it's cooled straight away. So it goes through a plate cooler. It's cooled down to from anywhere from 10 degrees down to about 3.5 degrees within 10-20 minutes. So milk quality is a huge important part of being a dairy farmer. The better quality milk you have, the more money you get paid for your milk. So we do different things to help to improve milk quality. We lime our cubicles to reduce the amount of bacteria that can grow on the cubicles. We teat spray our cows, and that helps reduce the amount of bacteria on the cow. It also reduces the amount of infection the cow might get. So the infections the cow would get from on a dairy farm would be mastitis, and that's basically an infection inside the cow's udder.
That was Gearoid's farm in County Limerick. We are joined by Gearoid now, and Gearoid is going to answer any of your questions that you might have had about the video or questions you might have had before. So if you'd like, you can start sending in all your questions and we'll answer as many of them as we can. Hello, Gearoid, how are you?
Hello, how are you?
Good, thanks now, Gearoid. A lot has probably changed since we were on the farm 3 weeks ago, Gearoid. Anything new happening?
Yeah, it's really turned into spring now. The weather has really turned the corner. So
Yes,
cows are out, all the weanlings are out, most of the stock is out now, and it's a case now of catching up on jobs that we can do out in the land when the land dries out. So there's a great sense of spring in the air. So it is brilliant.
there is, and it's probably. Do you prefer farming when the weather's good, Garrett, or do you not mind at all?
Well, the weather's there, and yeah, it is. It's amazing. The sun in the sky to put you on good form.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely a plus to the job when the weather's good. Yeah.
it is definitely, Garrett. And thanks for having us there a few weeks ago to film that video. So we'll take our first question, and it's from Fermoy Adair NS. How many cows do you have, Garrett?
So we calved down 120. We British Friesian cows, and we'd keep 40 calves, and we'd sell the rest of the calves. So yeah, we'd have about give or take 120. So.
Okay, great. And so far, we have a question here from Newtown School. How many calves do you have at the minute, Garrett?
So at the moment there's about 70 calves. There's 15 cows left to calve. And as I said, we keep about 40 ourselves. So we keep a few replacement heifers and we keep a few of the Frisian bull calves. And we sell the rest of the beef calves. So we'd have farmers that would buy beef calves off us at about 2, 3 weeks of age. So
Okay, so you keep them until then, Garrod.
yeah, yeah.
We have a question from Skull and Value Nua. Why did you start farming, Garrod?
That's a good question. I suppose I suppose when you're born on a farm, I suppose it's part of what you know growing up as a child. Um,
Yeah.
I suppose it's a lovely job. It's nice working outdoors. It's nice working with animals. You've that's I suppose that's the main reason. It is
Yeah.
you have your highs and lows, but it's a lovely job. When things go right.
Right. And being out in nature, Garrod, is probably, especially in Ireland, in the summer, is probably one of the nicer things you can have a career at, isn't it?
Oh, it is absolutely, yeah.
So we have another question from Fermoy Adair NS. Where does the milk go, Garrod, when when the cows are milked in the parlour?
So it's collected in a bulk tank, truck, and it's taken to. We supply our milk to Dairy Gold in Mitchelstown in
Okay.
County Cork. So it's basically it's taken there every 2 days, and it goes into the production. A lot of the Dairy Gold's milk is based around cheddar cheese, and I think from the production of cheddar you get whey products. So a lot of our cheese, our milk goes for cheese. Some of it goes to our Nua for the Kerrygold butter,
Okay.
but mainly cheese.
Mainly cheese, okay. And is there any difference, I suppose, in production that you need to keep in mind as it is purely for cheese most of the time, Garrod, or is it just the same rules apply for any product?
Yeah, it's the same rules apply. The standard has to be high,
Yeah,
because there's no room for the farm won't be viable if the quality isn't there. Your co-op or the likes of Dairy Gold that we supply, they're not going to reward you for a poor quality product. So
yeah.
the standard of what we produce in this country is quite high. So and that's reflected in what we get paid for. So
Okay, great. And so we have a question about the calves here from fourth class in Muckalee, Garrod. Why do the calves wear jackets?
yeah, good question. Yeah, we it's a calf doesn't have much uh, hair or fur or whatever you want to call it when it's born. So, and especially when we're calving into January, it's quite cold, and it's been a quite cold month of February. So we put jackets on them. It just helps them perform a bit better. They're not as cold, and you've less calves getting sick then as well. So it's um, they're brilliant. They're great for 'em. So
Yeah.
we find them a good investment. So
And does every farmer use them, Gearoid, or is it an option?
it's an option. Like you don't have to. Like to be honest, after about 4 weeks, they start knocking them off. They're running and jumping,
Ah,
and
okay.
you'd often see them. They could
Yeah.
be they could have a coat over their head. Like so, you end up just after once they hit 5 weeks, you end up taking them off anyway because they keep pulling them off and dragging them off and biting them and
Right.
but
So they're off anyway.
yeah, once the weather warms up, they don't need the jacket. Like
No, definitely. And it's particularly, I suppose, the past week, Gearoid, probably not. But like you said, the winter we had, they would have needed them.
yeah.
Now, so we have another question, I suppose, relating to your career in farming, Gearoid. And there's probably a lot of interest in this area. But from Mulhussey NS in County Meath, they have asked, and Jack has asked, when did you start farming, Gearoid?
Um, I took over the farm here in 2011. I was 26 years of age. Um, I suppose to start, when I finished school, I went to ag college, and I gave 5 years in college. I did farm machinery first, and then I went on and I did ag science. And I suppose that's your education is probably the best thing you'll ever have because it kind of sets you up for life. And I remember a teacher told me when I was in school that he gave me one piece of advice, and the advice was stay in school as long as you can. And I ended up doing 5 years of college. So it was the best thing I ever did, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because you can it broadens your horizons. It expands your knowledge on everything. And what I found with being going to college was and being in school was the more you taught, the less you know. You know,
Right.
that was a big thing. So
Yeah, so you did a lot of years in school, Garrod, and I suppose you'd probably say to anyone that is even not from a farming background that they can get involved in farming, Garrod. Would you say that?
oh, absolutely, yeah. Like I've had numerous people here working on the farm that they're not from farms, but like I'd always encourage them. If you're into anything agriculture related or love animals or love the outdoors, it's a huge industry. Like
It is.
there's so many different pathways you can go. And what I found with doing ag science, like you could get into animal genetics, you could get into food science. Like I work off farm, I do a small bit of farm advisory with a local agricultural consultant. And I also worked in farm sales for a while when I left college. Like it's a great degree because it opens so many doors. Like but I'd always be banging that drum anyway. I'd always encourage people to
Yeah,
um your education is the best thing you'll ever the more you can educate yourself, the better. That's
exactly. And agriculture is very versatile. If any of the students listening are interested in it at all, there's a lot that you can do in it, Garrod, isn't there? I suppose now we have another question from Big Stone School. How much milk could you produce per year, Garrod, or do you know that figure?
yeah, we produce about kind of 700 thousand liters. So each cow would probably do anywhere from 6,500 liters of milk
Wow,
a year. So
it's a large amount.
yeah,
Um, that's yeah. We have an anonymous question here. In I suppose relation to the same question, Garrod, which is why I'm asking you. If that is the large sum that they produce in a year, do you know how many liters a day your cows produce?
yeah. So it varies. So from when they calve, they'll increase milk right up till April, May, and then after that, once they go back in calf, they drop off. So like they could peak at 30 liters, and then
Okay.
but I think the average for the year would be, I think 20 liters is the average across the whole year from
Okay.
calving to
Wow.
drying out.
Wow. Um, we have a question here from Ross Camro NS, and it is how many cows can you milk in the parlour at any one time, Gearoid?
Tw 20. So
20 at one time.
we put it we used milk 10, and then 3 years ago we expanded the milking machine, and so we've halved the time of milking. So it's less time for the cows to be standing around, and it's less
Yeah.
time for me to be standing looking at them. So
Well, it
yeah,
takes you how long now, Gearoid, from start to finish?
about an hour,
An
about an hour.
hour.
Yeah,
Right. So an hour in the morning at 6 and an hour in the evening at 4.
yeah.
Yeah. So we have a question here from Newtown School. How many tractors do you have, Gearoid?
I've two
Two
tractors.
tractors.
I've one kind of fairly new one, and then one really old, one that's nearly as old as myself. So
Oh, right. Okay. And we saw them in the video, Gearoid.
yeah, yeah.
Um, there's an anonymous question here. What is your favorite cow, Gearoid?
But they're all my favorite. Yeah, no, sure. Yeah, you'd always have a few favorites. There's a few there. It's funny the way they all have their own little personality. They all do their own thing. They do the
Yeah.
same. Cows are creatures of habit. They do the same thing day in, day out. So like we've a pedigree herd here, so every cow um has a name, and we can trace back to the parents, grandparents, great grandparents. So every cow here on the farm is basically has a birth cert with a name, and generally the name comes from their mother, so, or their grandmother. That's how we name them.
I suppose it's nice to have that information,
Yeah,
Gearoid. Yeah, when you're, I suppose, dealing with the cows. How many acres are on your farm, Gearoid?
yeah. Very personal question. So the farm is in two divides. We have 120 acres here where the cows graze, and then we have another 100 acres an outside farm, and that's where the calves go and the heifers go, and that's where we cut our silage.
Great. Okay. And we have a question from Skull and Volume. What's your favorite part of farming, Gearoid? I know we said the weather, when it's nice, it's great to be outside, but is there anything in particular that you like doing, and maybe even on a daily basis, or
To be honest, it's funny. I really enjoy milking.
okay.
It's a nice job. And it's funny. The cows are always it's it's almost like they have a clock. They're always waiting at the gap at 4 o'clock,
Yeah.
and they'll also be waiting at the gate in the morning at 6 o'clock. It's almost like they're down to the T.
Yeah.
And then if I'm late, they'll let me know I'm late. So
Do they?
they will, yeah.
Yeah.
They'll be bawling and roaring and
Right.
shouting.
Yeah, we did even see that when we were down there. They were waiting for
Yeah, yeah,
Gearoid
yeah.
when we went
So,
down to film. The next question is from Belclaire NS, and I suppose it's similar to one of the questions you've answered before. What's the most amount of milk per milking does your best cow get? Or maybe even Gearoid, what year, or if you could go into a bit more detail, what year was your best milking year, or the most quantity of milk you produced, or is there a reason?
yeah, sure. Like if you take 2002, we had a fairly good year weather-wise. Cows produced a lot of milk that year, and then 23 was a fairly wet year, and we it was a disaster from that point of view. The cows just didn't perform as well because grass produces a lot of good quality milk, but um, I suppose yeah, in the parlor you can see what each cow is doing. So um, at the moment there's a couple of cows there doing 35, 40 liters at
Yeah,
the moment. So
great. Okay. And I suppose, like you said, what the cows eat is important, Garrod. So we have a question here from Anonymous. How much does a cow eat in a day, or do you have a quantity on that?
yeah, there's the figure there. They call it so they call the cows feed dry matter. So they convert everything back to dry matter, and a cow will eat anywhere from 18 to 20 kilos of dry matter.
Okay.
So if that makes any sense,
And it's important
you
that
were
they get
saying,
that.
Yeah, like if you were to, I seen a picture before where they basically got stacked up the amount of grass that a cow would eat in a day, and it basically that mound of grass was the same size as the cow.
Wow.
So
Wow.
they can eat a lot.
They eat a lot of grass.
Yeah. So you see, it all goes back to dry matter. So it all depends on whether how wet or dry the grass is. So
Ah, okay. I see. And
yeah,
then you feed grass silage sometimes, Garrod.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. We have a question here from Third and Fort in Dundee. What happens if a mother doesn't take to her calf? But I suppose, Garrod, you kind of the calf is kind of moved away straight away. So if you could answer that question, in I suppose the terms of your own farm and what you do.
Yeah, so we put the calves into individual pins because we found in the past that God forbid a cow could sit on a calf um or a calf didn't get enough colostrum or things like that. And we find by putting the calf into the individual pin, the calf is safe. And the cow is you've a better chance of getting more colostrum off the cow and more colostrum into that calf. And that basically that's a critical point for a calf's life, because if the colostrum isn't right or doesn't the calf doesn't get enough, it'll set the calf back.
Yeah.
And the last thing you want is calves getting off to a bad start.
Yeah, so you take the colostrum straight away, Garrod, and then when the calf is in the pen, they get that colostrum,
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
they? Yeah. We have another question from Big Stone. What is the oldest cow on your farm, Garrod, or how long do you keep them?
So it all depends. It's like everybody. They all have different lifespans, but they generally cows live to about kind of 14, 15 years of age. We'd have a few of those. Then it all like sometimes things go wrong and cows die, but it's all part of the farming system. You have to take the good with the bad. But generally 12, 13 years is the length of
And would they
generally.
still produce milk?
Oh, they would, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
great. Okay. And we have a question here from Newtown School. And you did address some of this in your video, Garrod. Have you had any cows get mastitis before?
Yeah, yeah, tis a tis something you're always trying to avoid, but it does happen. So what we do is we're constantly milk recording. So we record each cow, and it'll tell us what the level of infection is in each cow. And we'll take a sample of milk into our local vets, and they'll test the sample to see what is the best medication for that cow. So there's a bit of work involved in trying to treat it. But generally, it's all advice from the vet. They'll tell us what we should use and how long to use it for, and But it's all about testing. We do a lot of testing and recording, to try and avoid it and to try and prevent it.
Okay, and there's things that you do to prevent it, Garrod, as you said in
Yeah,
your video, spraying and
yeah.
yeah. We have a question here from Gael Skull na Cara Mail. Do you have any other animals, Garrod?
I have three dogs. I have three dogs. Yeah. So other than the cows and the calves and the heifers, that's about it. So
And so we have a question here from Fairy Folk in Kilkenny. So you've answered, I suppose, in the video, how often do you milk your cows, Garrod? And I suppose then, if you could follow that up with, how do you find, or how did you get used to the early mornings, milking Garrod and that kind of thing, because you're milking twice a day there.
yeah, so we milk twice a day. Yeah, it's something once you get into the routine of it, you don't know any better. Even on my days off, I still wake at the same time without my alarm.
Okay.
There's no, it's very hard to turn off
Yeah,
when you're used to getting up at the same time. But it's I think the morning is the best part of the day, so I enjoy it. I
you
enjoy
enjoy
the
it.
morning.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. We have a question here from Skulniv Porrick, Mylock, County Galway. What was the stuff you spread in the milking area, Gearoid, in the video?
Um, well, we sprayed teeth spray onto the cows, and then we would have the other one was the volume washer. I'd say we would have been spraying water onto the milking units to just wash them.
Okay, great. Thank you. We have a question from St. Joseph's NS in Tullamore. Have you ever used the robot milking machine, and how would that differ from the milking machine you use, Gearoid?
I've seen the robots working. We looked at we looked at robots before we changed our machine. But I kind of for myself because you wouldn't be handling the cows or you wouldn't see the cows, you wouldn't know them as well as you would when you are milking. And I suppose our farm, the milking parlour, the milking shed is at one side, and all the land is at the other side down the back. So it doesn't really suit a robot. You kind of need a robot in the middle of the farm.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, but we have a robotic scraper that cleans up after the cows. All right, that
Okay.
was a good investment.
Yes, I'd say it was. So we have a question here from fourth class Muckalee. My uncle plays music for the cows when they're milking. Do you play music, Gearoid?
From time to time, yeah, they says the cows enjoy the music that they'll actually produce more milk by listening to music. So
That's true, is it?
so I'm told. So I'm told I haven't
Okay.
seen it, but
So you do it sometimes.
yeah, sometimes, yeah.
So we have a question from Ranga3 in Belclare, NS. What's the price of milk at the minute? Gearoid.
Um, at the minute, it's 50 cent a litre.
Okay.
So it I suppose it's quite a good price compared to what we're used to, but on the flip side of that, our cost of production has gone way up.
Okay.
So we're even though it's a good price, we're not better off from it. So
Oh, right. Okay. I know what you mean, Gearoid.
yeah,
And it can maybe increase sometimes in the year, Gearoid.
it does. Yeah, so it all goes back to our milk quality. So um, if your say your butter, fat, and protein that's inside the milk, if those figures increase, you get paid more. So even though the milk price might be at 50 cent, it's possible that you could be getting 55, 60 cent a litre.
Okay.
And then on the flip side, if you have bad weather and you have poor quality silage, um, you mightn't even be getting 50 cent, you could be getting 45 cent. So
Smart.
that all goes back to the weather. The weather is everything. If we get a bad weather year, it really hits us financially as well as output. So it's a double negative.
It is
So
Gearoid.
yeah.
Now, so we have a question from Tina Tarif, NS. How many calves were born today, if any, Gearoid? Were there any calves on the farm this morning?
No, we'd four yesterday. And we've no calves
Four.
today. Yeah.
There was
So
four yesterday.
yeah.
And did any of them need help, Gearoid?
No, they all calved fine, yeah.
Grant. So we have I suppose maybe do three or four more questions and start to finish up then. But we have a question here from Sculnave Porrock, Moylock, County Galway. How many calves do you produce each year? I suppose, Garrod, each cow probably has a calf. Is there any twins or triplets or anything like that?
No, you'd get a share of twins. We never had triplets, but yeah, you'd be minimum 120 calves anyway. Maybe 126 or something like that, but that'd be the most, that'd be the outside of it.
And I suppose you keep some of them for your own herd.
We do, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Um, So I know you've kind of answered this one before, but Newtown School have asked, do you enjoy it every day being a farmer? Is it fun?
yeah, it is. I find it fun anyway. It like I've five brothers and sisters, and I suppose they had no real interest in farming. And I suppose my father always taught me, you have to want to do it. It's not something you can be made to or be
No.
forced to do. So uh, because it is 7 days a week.
Yeah,
So
it's a way of life, Garrod.
it is, yeah, and it's a nice way of life.
Yeah.
So
Um, I'll do two more questions. So the first one is from first class in Ballyfermot. Is the milk cleaned before we drink it, Garrod, or what's that
Oh
process?
God, yeah, yeah, yeah. That all goes back to the milk quality. So, um, we're tested every collection for TBC. It's called. So that basically it's a count of bacteria, and we have to keep that at a minimum. So basically, the our milk goes through a filtration system, and then it goes into the plate cooler, and it's cooled. The faster you get it cooled, the less bacteria can grow. So then when it's taken to to our co-op or processor or so to Dairy Gold we supply, they pasteurize it. And basically pasteurization is you're just basically heating the milk to over 70 degrees and cooling it rapidly again. And that basically will eliminate any bacteria.
So
So
it's pasteurized.
yeah, that's all pasteurization is. It's just heating the milk and eliminating any bacteria that might be there. But yeah, no, there'd be no bacteria isn't is monitored, and it's all down to hygiene. The cleaner you are, the less bacteria you'll have in your milk. So
And then when you're buying it from the shop, Garrod, it's all safe because it's
oh,
all
it can, yeah, no, there'd
put
be
through a
no,
process. Yeah.
yeah, like you could drink our milk straight from our bull tank. To
Right.
be to be that good, like it wouldn't
Yeah. And have
uh,
you done that?
we do, yeah, we drink our
Yeah,
own,
you drink it straight away.
yeah.
Or it takes a while to cool down, doesn't it? 20 minutes in the tank.
Yeah, so about 3.5 degrees is what you're trying to cool it down to. So it comes off the machine at about 10 degrees, and takes maybe 10-20 minutes to cool down to 3.5 degrees.
We have a question here from Anonymous. Do you have any bulls on your farm, Garrod?
We do, yeah. We've three bulls. So we have a Frisian bull and we have two Hereford bulls. So they're they're red in color with a white head. So their nickname are whiteheads. So but they're the Hereford breed.
Or the Hereford breed?
Yeah.
So, I suppose then your calves are mostly what breed, Garrod?
So they're mostly Frisian and Hereford, and we
Okay.
do we do a small bit of AI, the artificial insemination,
Yeah.
and we can use different bulls from AI. So we can use Angus, Shirley, Limousine. It all depends on what what type of a calf a farmer might be looking for. So
Right. We have a lot of questions about tractors, Garrod.
yeah,
So I suppose we can answer this question from Mulhussey NS in County Meath. And they have asked, what is your favorite tractor? And you know what? I think I'll add on to it, Garrod, and I'll say, if you could choose any tractor, what would you buy? Or would you keep the ones you have?
yeah. I suppose we I suppose the John Deere would be my favorite, but they're quite expensive.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
um, we have a class tractor in the yard. Um, I suppose the only reason we have the class tractor is my brother, he's a mechanic, and he was working in a dealership that sold class tractors. So, but in saying that, there's a John Deere engine that's in it and a Massey Ferguson transmission, so there's much class about it. So, but yeah, they're very expensive now to buy. They're talking €1,000 per horsepower. So, if you're buying 140 horsepower tractor, you're talking 140,000. So,
A lot.
um,
It is a
that
lot.
might.
Um, so I'll finish up on this question here, Garrod. And it's from St. Lawrence's Baldoyle. Do you know how much cheese is produced from your cow's milk in, say, the year? Or would you get that, I suppose,
No,
information?
we wouldn't know that. As far as I'm aware, most of the milk that Dairy Gold uh, collect from their suppliers is cheese, and a lot
Yeah,
of that cheese goes to the UK. Um, so a lot of the dairy that's produced here in this country is exported.
yeah.
Because I suppose we're a grass growing country, and we produce milk at a very low carbon footprint than other countries. So, um, but yeah, I wouldn't. I'd have no idea um, how much cheese is produced from the milk I produce. So
Okay. I'm sure it's a lot from what you're saying.
Yeah,
you produce
yeah.
in a year, Gearoid. I suppose, is there anything, Gearoid, that you would say in terms of any primary school student watching this that isn't from a farm or is from a farm, you would say that it's a good, I suppose, career choice to go with if you're any interested in it, to make sure to explore it. Gearoid, would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, like you have to like if you take what we you need food 3 4 times a day, and
Yeah,
everything you eat comes from a farm.
yeah,
I mean everything you eat comes from a farm. So like it's a huge industry, um, and it's such a diverse industry. There's so many different elements to it. Um, yeah. So like as I said, I always go back to your education. Your education is key. If you're interested in doing something, educate yourself first, and that'll open doors. But if you don't educate yourself, you're off to a bad start.
yeah,
But yeah, it's you know, if you look at it in a global context, the global population is growing, and even the population here in Ireland has increased, but the agricultural land size is getting smaller.
yeah,
So we need to produce more food from our farms to to feed a growing population. So I always like to think the future for agriculture is bright. We have issues down the road of emissions targets and all that, but we they're all being worked on, and
yeah,
I think as a country like Ireland, you know, we're a food producing country. Everyone was connected to a farm one time. Now I know that degree of separation is getting harder, but
yeah,
definitely, I think if anyone has any interest in a cow or a blade of grass or anything to do with farming,
yeah.
it's definitely a no-brainer to explore it anyway.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Garrod. You do a very important job. So thank you for joining us today. And I hope that everyone watching enjoyed this webinar. And we hope to see you at the next webinar as well. So keep an eye for any information on that. And yeah, we'll see you soon, Garrod. Thanks a million.
Thanks a million.
Bye,
Thanks.
everybody.
Bye now.
Thank you. Bye bye.